in my life, there's really only been one thing I've been sure of, and that's wanting to be back in Vietnam. You know, like, the fact I was born here and have half of my family here gives me a really nice connection to the country. And when I was growing up, every year we would come back to visit family, and that was always, you know, some of my favorite memories, my favorite times of year. And also just one of the things I love doing. Like, I love the country, I love the food, I love the people, I love the scenery, I love everything about Vietnam. And I particularly love Hanoi. My name's Jack Solomon, I'm 26 years old. And I'm from England, but I was born in Vietnam. I was born here in Hanoi. My parents, my dad is English and my mum is Vietnamese.
Con chào ông ba, con chào mẹ.
Having my grandparents here is really great, and I visit them relatively frequently, you know, maybe every week or every 2 weeks, and often, you know, we eat lunch or we have dinner. Because growing up in the UK, I was only able to see my Vietnamese grandparents, you know, one time a year. So now that I'm back here and being able to have access to visiting them and, you know, spending time with them, then I try to do it as regularly as I can. But just kind of knowing that I can just, you know, go over to their house anytime, have some lunch with them, or just have a chat and spend time with them. That's it's one of the reasons that I've come back to Hanoi, you know, because family is important. And growing up in England and being away from half of my family, you know, it's quite a big thing. So now that I'm back, having access to spending time with my family and making more memories and some new memories, I think that's just really great.
Cái nước này ngon lắm này.
Có cái món mắm tép là đặc biệt này, mà ăn với lại chân giò luộc, thái mỏng. Thế rồi thì là ăn với lại khế này, thế rồi dứa này, hành sống này, thế rồi thì là gừng, thái chỉ này, thế rồi là cái dưa chuột này, thế rồi thì cà rốt. Thế thì những cái thứ ấy thì là cũng thì ăn chung vào với nhau với lại thịt. Món Hà Nội đấy, Hà Nội ăn cái này đấy.
Dứa này, hành này. Có biết ăn hành sống không?
Yeah.
Rắc.
I think that the atmosphere, when we have, you know, a family lunch, it's just nice. There's no other word really, it's just pleasant. It's always nice spending time with family, and especially when, like I said, my grandma, the amazing cook, especially when the food is as delicious as it is, you know. And every time I go there, my grandparents are so generous. My grandma always tells me to eat more. You know, even when I'm full, she'll tell me to eat more, and then after that she'll bring me some fruit or maybe some dessert. And having that, it's a nice sense of care, you know. So having family that really care for you and look out for you and always want to support you and help you is really comforting. So at my grandparents' house, you know, I like to say that my grandma is one of the best cooks in Vietnam. She always makes amazing, delicious food. And every time I go there, it's usually, you know, just regular family style meals, you know, so we have some rice, some vegetables, some soup, some meats, things like that. And those kind of simple meals are some of my favorite because it's, you know, it's the most normal, traditional kind of family household meal.
Nhớ không?
Có.
Đấy là lâu lắm rồi đấy. Đấy, lâu rồi. Thì lúc bây giờ dắt chỉ mới với họ tôi lớp 1 thôi.
Còn như là...
Nhưng mà sắp tới này là ngày giỗ của bà, tức là đẻ ra mẹ của bà này. Tức là bà ngoại đến tháng 2 này. Cụ của dắt. Sắp tới là tháng 2 này là giỗ thì là chú Côn sẽ tổ chức là bà mất như thế là 35 năm thì sẽ tập trung tất cả các con các cháu.
So like my grandma mentioned at lunch, soon in March there will be an anniversary for one of the deaths in the family. And it's an important time, you know, it brings all of the family together to remember that person and kind of reminisce about things like that, and also to pay respects to them as well. And I think that having family values and culture in Vietnam is very important, because the family culture here is actually very different to the UK. So in the UK, you know, you grow up, and usually when you're 18, 20 years old, you'll move away from home and away from your parents, and that's usually where you'll be for the rest of your life. But in Vietnam, you know, family is important. It's the, you know, what most kind of circles are based around. So, you know, here there's the tradition where, you know, sometimes the son or, you know, the children of the family will stay and live with their parents their whole life and take care of their parents when they're older. But also I think that in Vietnam, the word family has a slightly different meaning to in the UK. Because for example, in the UK, when someone says family, usually it's just the immediate family. You know, so maybe just your parents, your siblings, maybe your grandparents, maybe your cousins, but kind of just that. Whereas when you're in somewhere like Vietnam, when people say family, they're talking about everyone, you know, not just siblings, parents, cousins, aunties, uncles, but, you know, second aunties, second uncles, second cousins, and all of the extended family. And I think that here, regardless of how closely related you are, if you're kind of more distantly related, people will always want to help and support their family. And events like that, like an anniversary of a death in the family, I think is a good time for the family to really come together, you know, like I said, reminisce about the person who passed away, but also to pay their respects, and then also build new memories with the rest of the family moving forwards.
Giác thì đặc biệt là yêu Hà Nội lắm. Đối với gia đình thì rất là gần gũi, rất là quý mến. Ở đây thì Giác cũng đến chơi ông bà luôn, gặp cơm ăn cơm thôi, bình thường. Thế cho nên là Giác bảo Giác yêu Hà Nội, yêu gia đình lắm.
I love the sunshine, definitely, and I love this time of year in autumn when it's sunny and dry, it's not rainy, it's not humid, and it's not too hot. In summer, when it's really hot, sometimes it's a bit unbearable, you know, sweaty and wet. So I like to do and I'm working towards is kind of going down a similar route to my father, which is photography. And that's another reason that I've been brought back to Hanoi, really, because I always describe Hanoi as a playground for photographers. Like I said, there's life, there's things happening here, colors, smells, everything. So being someone who's interested in photography, living somewhere like Hanoi is like a dream come true. You know, you can walk down any street, any day, any time of the day. There's always interesting things to take pictures of. When it comes to integrating a lot more with the culture and people here in Vietnam, I think being a photographer is great, because one of the things I love taking pictures of are people and life. And I love to capture moments that you can't really recreate. It's not like, for example, you can go to Paris, take a picture of the Eiffel Tower, but 1,000 other people have taken, or more than 1,000 other people have taken the exact same picture. Because I think here, when I take pictures of life and people, you can't ever recreate that moment, you know, because everything around you is constantly moving and changing. Capturing that one point in time and freezing it it creates more unique pictures and experiences. And of course, like I said, I like to take pictures of people. So taking pictures of the people and also talking to the people that I take pictures of and kind of meeting new people along the way, I think really does help to throw you deeper into the culture of Vietnam and, you know, integrate a nice connection and relationship with the people that you take pictures of and of course all of the locals around here as well. The thing that I love about Hanoi is just all of the different parts and aspects that the city has and the characteristics. For example, you know, you can walk down here and you can find a pagoda that's a few hundred years old, and right next to it is a brand new building. And I think that Hanoi has a lot of history and a lot of charm, I think. And even though Hanoi is a big city, I think that sometimes it can feel kind of village-like. And I feel like it's hard to find that in a city, but I think Hanoi, in every part of Hanoi, there's a very strong sense of community. You know, there are some public spaces where everyone in the neighborhood comes out and just either relaxes or does some exercise or plays sport. So that community aspect definitely is one reason I love Hanoi. Another, like I said, is the food. It's delicious, it's everywhere, and it's cheap. And other than that, yeah, just the weather is amazing. The opportunities as an aspiring photographer, also amazing. And like I said, the people, the people all around, they're amazingly generous. They always want to help you, and they're so hospitable as well. Like there have been more times than I can count. I'm walking down the street and, there's a person just at the side of the road drinking tea, and they invite me. They tell me to come sit down and drink some tea with them, or have some food with them, or meet their family, or talk to their kids, or something like that. And that's something you can never find in the UK. So for me, Hanoi, it has the history, the culture, the beauty, and also the connection between people, which I just am in love with.
Having lunch, with my parents and grandparents, and then we did some photography around. I think, there's some variation of that. Yeah, I think, topical thing. The actor manager. Yeah, exactly. Really, small and slow down at the same time. And cool at the same time.
Because growing up, like I said, there's only been one thing that I've definitely been sure of my entire life, and that's the fact that I want to live in Hanoi. For me, because I have that connection, because I have the family, and because I was born here, and just because of my general love for the city, it's somewhere I can see myself living for a very long time, if not forever.